Hey, Bobby Moats here.
Hey, my name is Riley.
Hey everybody, this is Michael and you're listening to Speculo Live. All right, Robert. Speculo Live episode number 8 is officially started. Welcome
Episode
everybody.
8.
8 episodes, man. It goes by fast. I think they said
It
that
does.
the average podcast shuts down after like 13 episodos. So we're halfway there.
Well,
For
that's definitely
those
not happening here.
That's right. And we're halfway there. For those that are listening, you're almost done with us. Now we're looking forward to doing this on a long-term basis. It's going to evolve into more conversations around AI. One thing I want to just stress is Bobby and I are not AI experts. I don't think anybody is an AI expert. You're going to see that a lot in your social feeds and things like that around people that are out there selling snake oil or talking about these are all the things you need to do. Bobby and I are in the trenches. We're literally running teams.
25 prompts that are going to change your life, right?
Yeah.
That's the big thing right now. There's I think a big major brokerage that's like making a big push to do all that stuff at the moment. And it's like, okay.
Yeah. And look, we said this in the last episode. Don't let your brokerage be the one that's driving your AI adoption or any technology adoption. Take the initiative, and don't get me wrong, it's nice to be able to leverage that, but at the end of the day, it's really important for you to understand it for yourself. That's a key component to the success of your business in a long-term state, right? It's great to have tools that give you time back, but it's more important that you use tools that, I guess you're familiar with and that you've customized, you've crafted, all that stuff. Key things, man. It's really that simple. So let's start off. We always go through 3 things on these episodes, and we just had a great leadership summit here where we just really drilled down and grilled into who we are as a group and what we're focused on. And I think some incredible things came out of that. You and Elliot had some great dive intos with like, how are we continually evolving our platform and how is it always getting better? How is it always staying at the front, right? We consider ourselves at the front of this innovative piece. And I love some of the things that came out of that. From all of that we ideated on, obviously people are going to get like a bird's eye view of some of the things we accomplished, but let's talk about what you're excited about over the next 90 days, because I think there was some really innovative things that you and Elliot and us and the team really came up with that was a combination of things we're seeing in the market, feedback we're getting from clients, feedback we're getting from our teams, and how do we shape that to be at the forefront of innovation with regards to this product. So tell me about the next 90 days. What are you really excited about?
Well, we just finished a massive initiative over the last 90 days that we're kind of excited to be over the hump around. And that was improving the data that we are giving to our clients and their consumers, specifically on our search sites to help empower the AI to help you make better decisions with the people in your world. So I'm, for one, super excited that's over because that was more data heavy, not as much AI fun heavy. But moving forward now we have the ability to turn all of our attention and our efforts to creating what I see as one of the more advanced AI assistants, or there's probably a better term for this, AI tools for your real estate business that is going to provide you with the best communication experience possible between you and your clients. And I know the best possible actually is you talking to everybody in your database, but the next best thing is to have a clone of you talking to everybody in your database. And then I think there's a huge gap from that all the way down to, the next hire, right? And we're trying to fill that gap because one of the hardest things in the world is to find somebody that can communicate the same way you do all the same things that you do with your database. And we are getting to a place over these next 90 days where we're going to allow AI to be that third option. You, a clone of you, AI, right? And so that it can be a true assistant and a true extension of who you are, and making sure you're communicating effectively across multiple channels, not just phone calls, not just text, not just emails, but everything, and allowing you to take real control of your database. So I could geek out around that for hours and hours and hours. I'm really excited about our foundation there and where it's, how we're going to get there and what it's going to ultimately end up being.
Yeah. What's interesting to me that we talked about, I thought that was really strong, is deeper consumer conversations, right? So we understand the value of a conversation. Our goal is obviously to keep the human involved in these transactions. AI is not going to replace real estate agents. We're a firm believer in that. And so a way that we can put our money where our mouth is continuing to focus on deeper conversations. So when we engage as humans, we go into our CRM, we try to pull as much information as we can. Now, there's obviously those that just pick up the phone and dial and go, who knows where this is going to lead. personally, as a professional prospector, like I believe that the best way to engage is to have the data points prior to pushing it out, right? To going out there. Who are you? What are you doing? What is the current status of your home situation? What do I know about you from what you've engaged with content wise in the past? So tell me about deeper conversations. Why is what we're doing, it's not just about being top of mind with our AI tools to go out and into our database and connect and touch each one of our contacts, but it's about top of conversation. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So, top of conversation, define that.
So when I say top of conversation, what I'm referring to is like being top of mind is one thing. I've touched your contact. I've sent you an email. I've done the whole, we're seeing a massive flood of, hey, would you like a home valuation on your property? Right. But that's all well and good. But why am I doing that? Why am I reaching out to you? What do I know that is true in order for me to actually reach out to you at the right time? And I'm calling it top of conversation because top of mind is just, hey, I remember these guys sent me a newsletter not long ago. Maybe I should reach out to them. Top of conversation to me is I'm reaching out the right time because of this right piece of data that I know about.
So essentially, we all do this as top agents. We just innately do it. You got a database of a couple hundred people. You know where everybody's at, the conversations you're having with them, the last email you sent on, the last phone call you had with them, last text message, etc. You know what's going on in their life. You know how long they've been in their house. You have all these data points that are living in your brain because your brain is a powerful tool, right? Better than AI at the moment. And so they're all living in your brain so that you can make appropriate follow-up happen and to have appropriate conversation. Right? So you know when and how to connect with people at the right time with the right message, with the right context, and you can talk about things that you've talked about in the past. That to me is when we can deploy AI systems that can have that same sort of context around a consumer, where it knows quantitative information about their home, how long they've been in the house, if there's any what their equity looks like, when they bought the place, what the next few years will look like when they're looking to sell, all the way down to, the last email that we sent to them. What was their response? Did they reply to that email? What was their response? Have we texted them last few days? What was that text conversation? And be able to pick up the phone and deeply be able to discuss those things because it knows them, I think is very much like that's not only in the realm of possibility, but it's happening, right? To where an AI can pick up the phone and pick up where it left off from a text message conversation or an email were being sent back, emails that were being sent back and forth. And to give it that sort of context, to be top of conversation is absolutely where it's going. It's inevitable. We're going to be some of the first to make something like that happen.
So
For
let's
real
give an
estate
example.
specifically.
Let's give a good example. So here's an example that Bobby and I dove into this last weekend. So through our database and the data that we're able to pull about our database, we went in and created a specific segment of contacts. So we went through the database and pulled out what we call a downsizer database. A downsizer database is essentially what, Bobby?
It's people that maybe in too big a home at this point. Maybe their kids moved out of the house and they're looking to downsize a little bit because they don't need 12 bedrooms anymore with all the kids out of the house. Maybe now they need only 3. So it's basically downsizers because the family is shrunk that is living in that home, or maybe it's just too big a house and there's a ton of equity in it and they want something smaller.
Yeah, and look, so really from public record data, we could see that homeowner has been in that house for 15, 20 years. We could see that their mortgage is potentially completely paid off and that, their area may be a pretty active area for sales, right? It's a popular area. Homes are selling pretty quickly in there. And maybe that at one point, a couple of years ago, they had it on the market and then decided to take it off, right? The market obviously in the last few years has been pretty chaotic. And so all of these people, we were then able to take that data and put them into what we call downsizers. Now, the great thing about what we have is now we're not going to have a generic conversation with them, right? We're going to teach this AI to specifically speak to them in a way that resonates. Hey, here's what I know about you. Here's what I understand to be true. And here's what I understand to be a great next step. Can I connect you to an agent who can do that? Now, the agents that are then connected are well aware that this is a campaign we're running. So when they pick up the phone, they're not like, hi, I'm ABC agent and I would like to list your house. They are going to have that conversation that follows up with what the AI has already told these people. Yeah. And so tell me why that's valuable. I mean, to me, That's smarter conversions and closings, right? That's a better data-driven lead that's going to end up costing less, and it's going to be more efficient to engage with.
Yeah, it's, for us to be able to have that sort of contextually aware conversation in the past, we had to employ ISAs or employ agents to be able to go out there and do it. And it was always disconnected. It was always a little bit broken. And also, like, if you go back to, I don't know, 20 years ago when we were in college, there was a whole conversation.
You were in college. I was not. I am too
Well,
old.
whatever.
Much older than you, Robert. We talked about that quite frequently.
There was this started the craze with the advent of the internet and it getting big in the early 2000s, the craze of customized experiences, customized products, customized everything. And it was like in any of the marketing classes or business classes I was in, there was a lot of conversation of if you can create a customizable experience for your end user, they're going to pay more money for it, and they're going to feel more connected to whatever that brand or product is. And I think over the last 20 years, that's kind of really stalled. Like, yeah, you can get some customized stuff. Some of these products, these brands are able to make things a little bit more customizable by, new innovations in their production processes or whatever. But it really never got to a place where, specifically in real estate, we've been trying to create customized experiences to scale our databases for a long time. And you couldn't really do that. You could try, you could simulate it. You could hire some like auto pen company to write like almost like mail merged handwritten notes to your database, or you could have some emails go out that were mail merged. That was really the only way we could customize things to our databases through mail merge, which is just replacing the name or the address of the people. And what AI is going to be able to do for us and is doing for us is allowing us to get a true customization in place for our clients and our, the agents on our teams to be able to provide that to their clients through this AI, where instead of canned emails with, just a name or mail merged in or an address or whatever saying, hey, come check out your home value. It's a very customized conversation that is contextually aware based on conversations we've had in the past that looks like a custom email written from a human being that knows that client inside and out. And that's huge because if we could go back and we could do this all over again, or we're starting our real estate careers, every email we sent was personalized to that person. Every letter we sent was personalized and probably handwritten to that person. Every piece of everything that we did was personalized. And that's where we saw the most return, the highest ROI on our businesses is when we were doing those sort of things at a high level, those of us that succeeded in that. And I think AI is going to be able to open up those doors to not only new agents that don't know how to do it, but also high producing agents that are trying to scale their business to still be able to maintain that level of customized touch to the people in their database. And I think that is going to be the ultimate game changer from AI, is to be able to provide that. And that's something that we're absolutely working on and trying to get out here very quickly.
Yeah. The capability of saying, tell me what you know about this person I'm about to call, right? Tell me what I should know about this person that I'm about to call. And, in historical times, like whether it's a real estate contact or even just a business that you're reaching out to prospect into an individual person takes a block of time in your calendar, right? Go in there and do the research, find it in your CRM. What was the last conversation? What is their mortgage rate? What is all this information? Like, what's the tax rate of the area they live in right now? All of that stuff takes time, 15, 20 minutes before you even pick up the phone, which is why nobody does it. Prospecting is how you get the gold, right? You don't just show up and go, holy cow, there's a ton of gold here. You actually have to go and read the maps and do the geography and do the everything, do the seismic, do everything. And then you have to pick up the axe and start to dig. And so, or the pick, I should say. And so, one of the
don't
things
be digging with an axe. You won't go very far.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty tough. But what I will say is like, if you were to do it, the question is how do I, so tactically, as an independent person that is a real estate professional that doesn't have AI yet, the question is, what insights do you wish you had at your fingertips right now about your database? And will you do the activities to go find those things? Because if you're not, AI is a great way for you to find that information and utilize it within your CRM to then have a customized, tailored outreach, right? And there's multiple touch points. Obviously, we're heavy on the conversation capability because our AI talk technology is what I would consider the best in the industry. But there's also AI email campaigns. This is kind of our second point, right? So when it comes to things you're excited about, I love that you're pumped about the idea that we're now going to get more customized and curated conversations utilizing data points that are public information to get you deeper down the funnel, right? And these are things that other companies are doing already. Things like Fellow have this kind of technology as well. And I think that that's super beneficial. So I think that that's something that I'm excited. You're excited about that, because as somebody that's our chief innovation officer, you guys are diligently working to bring that to every one of our clients.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is a new world for real estate agents, and the ones that have been able to survive this downturn and move through it effectively are going to be able to take advantage of a much more efficient, productive, higher level of conversation and service to their clients that we've never ever had before in this industry. And it's really exciting. And it's not only exciting for the agents that are looking to scale their businesses, but also exciting from a consumer standpoint to be able to have that sort of customer service. What was it,
Yeah.
80%, something like that? 80% of consumers would use their previous real estate agent if they, would have kept up with them. And this provides, the agent the ability to actually keep up with them.
Yeah, right. It's simple. AI is in this respect is not complicated. It's going to do the guaranteed activities that generate more closings. And we all know agents don't want more leads, they want more closings. So use the AI to do the activities that generate more closings. It is not more complex than that.
Correct.
It's simple. It's simple. So we touched on it quickly. The second point I want to talk about today is how we're going to use AI and how we should use AI to write our email campaigns. So let's talk about that. There's a big shift right now. Agents aren't just using AI to save time. They're using it to speak to more people in more relevant ways, right? Tell me some of the ways that you can use AI to help you with writing your emails.
So one of the big, we just, talked about this a little bit. What I was talking about is I think ultimately where it's going to go to get AI to write your emails. But right now, I think the idea of the email blast, unless you're a product that's looking to give updates to a large number of people, like our Speculo newsletter, and if you're not subscribed, go subscribe to that. It's pretty cool.
Sign up.
It's actually one of the cooler emails that I've seen out there. It's like a magazine. Anyways, the when you are thinking through that, you need to figure out, how do I move closer and closer to hyper personalized emails to everybody in my database and away from a lot of these bulk emails as quickly as possible, because that's where it's going to go. And at first, it's probably going to be a lot of a lot of you going in. There's easy things to do here, right? You can copy paste all the information you have about a person, and you can put it into ChatGPT and say, I need an email about XYZ, and make it relevant. That's fine. And it'll probably speed up your time in crafting those customized emails, but it's also not that efficient. Then there's other services like Shortwave, which is a great email service if you're using Gmail, that will connect in and not only craft emails based on previous communication. It can also connect into things like HubSpot and a couple other tools. If you're tech savvy, you can plug that into things like Follow Up Boss. But there's programs like that will automatically pull all that information together, look at your communication style, and turn around and craft emails for you. That could increase your ability to produce customized emails very quickly, like decrease that time to actually craft those to a few seconds instead of 10 minutes or whatever. Still, though, it's going to be hard for you to replicate the big email blast to a database of 1,000 people, right? Because you can't really do that. And so, how technical do you want me to get? Because you can go in and you can put together
Unleash the fury, Mitch. Let's go. Unleash the
Let's
fury.
go. So with system,
that's a reference to the movie Road Trip when he's trying to feed a rat to a python. Keep going.
If you're technically savvy and you are experienced with a system like Zapier, and there's other tools out there right now that are more AI heavy that you can look at also. Again, they all cost a little bit of money. You can tie together things like, say, hey, Zapier, every time I tag somebody in my database with X tag, it throws all their information to Zapier, ties it together with whatever my message of the moment is that I want to send out. And then we'll turn around and kick off an email that's sent via SendGrid or your Gmail or whatever. And so that's another way to do it in bulk. Oh, and by the way, inside of Zapier, you can bring in ChatGPT or any of the other AI services to make sure it crafts it the way you want it. You say, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to talk about. Here's all the information on this person. Here's all the notes, blah, blah, blah. Pull that in every time you tag it in Follow Up Boss. And then those emails can craft themselves as you go down the line. Things you need to make that work is a Zapier connection. You're going to need probably an OpenAI API key if you're using OpenAI to do it. So go to platform.openai.com and you can do that there. and then obviously your follow-up boss API key. Put all those things together, and then an email service, Gmail. Most people have Gmail or whatever their standard email service is. Just don't send 20,000 emails out of it. And if you're going to do that, then pick up something like SendGrid, which you're going to need API keys and probably to set that thing up too. But if you can do that just until we get all of our stuff running fully, right, then you're going to be able to one-off send very hyper customized emails. These aren't going to be automated though. Like it's not going to be contextually aware based on previous emails. But for right now, you're going to be better than 99.9% of the real estate agents out there in sending personalized emails out to your database. And you can make those all come from you because you're crafting them.
Yeah. AI can help you with so many things. Tone matching. So let's talk about that. Tone matching, the market of the moment. So let's talk about AI in your emails can match you with the tonality you need to approach somebody with where the market's at. Right now, we're seeing a market with higher interest rates. So like if somebody engages with an email that you sent to a downsizer or maybe even an upsizer, maybe somebody that's looking to get a bigger house, but they're sitting on a 3% mortgage rate, right? You can craft a specific email that speaks to that. Maybe they open a previous email that you mentioned something around mortgage rates, and you can match the tone of that email utilizing AI, right? Why it's a great thing to actually get into this market now, and don't be afraid to date the rate and buy the house, right? And so, it can write for different databases, different segments. And like we talked about already, the downsizers, upsizers, past clients, buyers, investors. It can create you campaigns, not just one-off emails. You can write an entire series of emails, 4, 5, 6 segments. We always like to hear things like the 10 days of pain that people put through their database. And, it just personalizes your follow-up at scale, right? Your ability to follow up with those people that suddenly click on an email not once, but maybe twice, maybe 3 times, and you go, okay, there's something here. And it'll help you to do that at scale where you can maybe take 5 or 6 people that have opened up, a specific email talking about a specific tone of the market, and then follow up at scale with them by creating one crafted email that speaks to what could be their pain point. So I think that that's a great, thing that's coming with the email ecosystem. And I think you should lean into that, whether it be Claude or ChatGPT or any of the platforms that are out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's about to be table stakes. So, I mean, I say that because I'm just obsessing over it all the time. But if you want to be the best you can be right now and provide yourself with leverage that gives you time back so you can have more quality face-to-face conversations, I would absolutely deploy something that's going to start to automate your communication style. And you will get a bunch of emails back. So make sure that you stay on top of that.
Yeah, the follow-up. Awesome. Well, I think that flows really good into the third thing we want to talk about. And I'm calling this, how busy is your calendar right now? Right. And this is something that is obviously a goal of ours, is to get more closings. That's not going to happen unless your calendar is full with appointments and meetings, right? You're not going to get closings unless you get these appointments set and get in front of them. And for every 10 that you actually host, you should be shooting for a goal of 8 of those 10 to become contracts in your hand, ready to rock, buyers or sellers, whatever it may be. And so here's the question that I usually like to think about, that when we talk to some of these teams, I want you to think of it this way. How big is your database, right? How big is your database? And then how busy is your calendar right now? Here's why I like this. There are so many people that walked around with this crown on their head or a sense of pride because I have 100,000 people in my database. But my question to them is, but how busy is your calendar right now? How busy is the calendar of your agents on your team right now? If you have an 80,000 person database and you still have people that aren't taking 10 appointments plus a week, then you are not doing the things that need to happen for follow-up. You have a follow-up problem. So go back. How big is your database and how busy is your calendar? And if your calendar is not matching the size of your database, you have a follow-up problem, right? And that's everything we keep talking about, is what activities are you doing to make sure that you're getting these appointments set, to stay top of mind, to stay top of conversation and get these done. And so it really is simple. The platforms that we have designed is about guaranteed activities that guarantee and generate more closings, right? Filling your calendar full of appointments to get you closings. The job of you as a leader or as an agent is to perfect that conversation when you show up. Your listing presentation, your buyer presentation is so tight, people can't ignore you and they will not book with you, right? And so How many appointments are booked in your calendar for the next 7 days? I think everyone that listens to this should be thinking about that. How busy is your calendar right now? Let's talk about that. You're someone that has led a team of 40 plus agents. I mean, how important is it to have your database continually touched on to then have a full calendar?
It's the most important thing. Now, there's a lot of activities that we encourage agents to do, but all of those activities are centered around the idea of setting the appointment. And whatever you're doing, you're trying to get to the appointment because the sooner you can get face to face, the sooner you get to the ability to actually, get to a closing and actually make some money. So we're one of those people that has a massive database and, for my real estate team, but as we've gone from 40 agents to 10, it did make it tremendously harder to get in touch with all the people and make sure you're having the right conversation with the right people and all that, which ultimately, I believe, negatively impacts your ability to create quality appointments. You could have the biggest database in the world, but if you're talking to the wrong people, you're never going to actually fill up your calendar. And so, how do we
Yeah.
talk to all of them to be able to get that gold out of there and talk to the right people at the right time? And I think, it's a game of numbers, especially right now with the market down. The path is in the math, right? That's the conversation. Is the path to your success in real estate is in straight math. And I could tell you, like, if with enough data, how many people you need to talk to on a daily basis to set X amount of appointments and how many appointments you need to have X amount of closings. Once you get enough of that data in place, you should be able to simply be able to say, okay, I need a database of X amount of people, and I need to be talking to them once a quarter and having these conversations to make all this work effectively and to fill my calendar up. You need to get really clear about that math and make sure that you can scale your conversations to be able to fill that calendar up. Otherwise, you're not running a business. You're just out there flailing. So, anyways, that's my
Yeah.
spiel.
Yeah. I mean, let's tie it all back to database health, right? You don't need more leads. You need more conversations with the leads you already have, right? And the person that has the healthiest database is the one that's going to win. So if your calendar is empty, you've got an
Mhm.
engagement gap. So grabbing the insights like we do to close that gap, prioritize the proper, contacts based on what you know. You find out what their surface intent is. So where are they at? How long have they been in the house? What is their mortgage rate? When are they, what is the likelihood that they're looking to buy or sell? And then book the conversations, right? And guaranteed activities equal guaranteed closings. And there's only so many hours in the day that you can do those guaranteed activities. So driving appointments through activities is the key thing there. So your health of your database is crucial, right? Not just right now, all the time, all the time. And so really, I think it's, asking yourself, what's the simplest activity an agent commit to this week that will almost certainly lead to a closing in the next 90 days? And that's the grabbing the data, doing the follow-up, continually engaging with your database to stay top of mind and top of conversation, and then talking about how you're coaching those agents that are sitting with a full CRM right now, but they're stuck in analysis paralysis, right? So we get them the conversation, we pull in the data. They're no longer having to, analyze over and overthink it. And then they're just focused on, hey, I've got an exceptional listing presentation here that I'm going to present to this person, and I'm going to get 8 out of 10 conversations to close. So, the question again, how busy is your calendar right now? How busy are your agents right now? Don't get high on the horse about, I have this big database, because if you're not doing the things to have a healthy big database, then your calendar is empty. You have a follow-up problem, and you need to do the things, the activities to get that follow-up problem resolved to book closings. That's all there is to it.
I think that's the ailment that plagues most real estate teams, especially right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Everybody's got
And
a follow-up problem.
we're helping to solve that, right?
Yeah.
We're innovatively like digging deeper because we're in the trenches. We get it. We see the problem when we're building out this AI to be stronger, smarter, faster, utilizing the data at our fingertips and doing the hard work so that we can then bring it to you and your agents so that you can then turn to your agents and say, I've done the pre-work. Here's the easy conversation. You know how to do this. Go on these appointments. Your calendar is full. Close these deals. Close them. Anything else you want to bring? I mean, how exciting that Riley and Kyle were named the Forbes top 30 under 30, our founders. What a cool thing that is.
That makes me feel super old, though.
Yeah. Yeah. I was wondering if there's like a top 50 under 50, but I don't think that exists. I think that I would definitely fall short of that category. 45 years old as of May 3rd. And I'm like, man, there are so many people that would crush me in that category. But super exciting news to have innovative leaders like them, innovative leaders
Yeah.
like you doing all of the things in the background, like we just talked about, to generate those guaranteed activities and get closings for people. So
Yeah, I think this is, honestly, just the beginning. I think over the next 90 days, you're going to see not only Riley and Kyle winning their 30 under 30s, Forbes 30 under 30, but it's, with the innovations that are taking place inside of AI and inside of our organization over the next 90 days. I think, it's going to start to blow people's minds, and you're going to hear more and more about us throughout the news, throughout the media, and what we're doing and what we're building. Michael, you were called out on stage over at Inman the other day from your conversation with a big MLS down in Florida. But we're making noise. It's about to get really big, and I'd say, if you're interested in what we're doing, get connected. Michael, not me.
you don't have any time for conversation.
Yeah. Um, we can blow your mind and help set you up so that this next iteration that's going to take place is something you can take advantage of at the highest levels possible, and you can become that 99, that tip of the spear, that 1% of real estate agents that are able to provide this experience to their clients in their database.
Yeah, if you're doing right now with your database, if you're doing really well in this market with your database, imagine what's going to happen when you deploy this type of technology into your database and things start to turn around. You're going to have this nurture rich, super powerful database where 40% of your database is ready to rock, and it's a game changer. It's just a game changer. So, well, good, Bobby. Awesome. Everybody, check us out on our socials, on Instagram, on Facebook. Go to our YouTube page. And if you have any questions, DM us on any one of those channels. And we'll talk to you guys next week. And we're looking forward to having more conversations. We're going to be at some great events. We just did a great event with Keller Williams last week in Kansas City. We've got some conferences we're going to be at coming soon. Check out our newsletter for that. And if you need anything, just like, subscribe, and hit us up and book some demos.
Yeah.
Cheers, y'all. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on the Speculo Live podcast. We are very grateful for your support as always. If you or someone that you know is interested to just get a consultation on how they're using AI in their real estate business, do not hesitate to hit us up through one of the links in our profile, or you can feel free to DM us on any one of the social channels. Stay tuned for more episodes, and make sure to like and subscribe to make sure that you get notified when our next podcast episode comes up. Thanks, guys.